G'day guys, my name's Nick and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a review on the Bluetti EB55 lithium power bank. So this is an extremely powerful lithium power bank which is perfect for four-wheel driving, camping and even powering things around the home. So Bluetti did approach me to do a review on the power bank. They sent me out the power bank for free, so I haven't paid for this, and in return I was just required to do a review. Now they did not alter my opinion in this video at all, and they haven't altered it or given me any money to give a good review. So all they asked is for an honest review on their product. So over the last couple of weeks that I've had the power bank, I have done some pretty intense testing on it. So we've had power outages here at our home and I've used it to power appliances, which I'll talk about later, and also powering things in the back of the four-wheel drive, charging up lights and all that sort of thing. So what I'm going to show you guys in today's video is my findings and how it's performed. So stick around and we'll get stuck into the details. Okay guys, so before I start showing you how this works, I just want to talk about some of the tech specs related to the unit. So this is the Bluetti EB55 and this is the smallest lithium power bank that Bluetti make. So it is also the most compact and lightest as well. So this power bank weighs 7.5 kilograms. So it is super light, super compact, super portable, and I've found it to be really easy to use and also really easy to move around. So the unit measures in at about 280 long, 20 wide and 20 high. So it's quite a compact unit and it's roughly the same size as my 85 amp hour AGM battery that I have behind the drawers there. So this battery also has a 537 watt hour capacity and you can have a continuous draw of 700 watts before this thing will shut down. So it also has a peak current draw, like a surge current draw of 1400 watts, which it can maintain for a short period of time. So the battery in here is a lithium ion battery, so a LiFePO4 battery, and it's what a lot of people are using nowadays in the back of their four-wheel drives. So you do have quite a few different plugs and inputs on the front of the Bluetti. So you have 4 USB 3 amp sockets here. So these are fast charging sockets. So you also have a USB-C 100 watt socket there, and you have 2 AC output, 2 40 volt 700 watt sockets here, so for your normal household plugs. And then you have a 12 volt plug here for any accessories you want to run off 12 volt, and you also have these 2 smaller little 12 volt sockets, which I actually haven't used these before and I haven't really seen these plugs around, but I'm sure you could probably get them from like Jaycar or something like that, so you could use these sockets as well. So the input for the unit is from either a adapter, so an AC charging wall adapter, or from solar, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And on the top of the unit you actually have a 15 watt wireless charging station, so you can put your wireless charging devices on top and remotely charge those quite easily. On the side of the unit you have 2 air vents and there are 2 fans in either side of the unit to promote some airflow through the battery. On the back of the unit you've got a light, so this is a built-in LED light and it has 2 modes, so a lower, higher and a flashing mode as well. So this is the other side of the unit and there's another fan in there, and that is the basic setup of the unit, and it is quite simple and quite easy to use. So you just flick on the button here, you can see your battery capacity here, you can see your input and your output, so you can monitor how much power you are actually using and how much power you are actually putting into the unit as well. And you just flick these buttons on all of the different sections there to power up each section. So you can just run one section or you can run all of them, it's completely up to you. And you can see when they're flicked on they don't consume any more power having them all flicked on, so that's pretty good. So what I'll do now guys is I'll load it up with a couple of accessories and a couple of things I need to charge, and I'll show you guys how the power reading actually works. Okay guys, so I've loaded up the Bluetti EB55 with a couple of different things just so I can show you how it works. So I've turned on my power banks here and you can see that I'm charging a Ryobi drill battery, Got some lights over here and a head torch, and I've also got a fan going there. I have a light here, so 12 volt light. So now we've got all these items running off the Bluetti EB55. You can see that the output has changed to 66 watts. So what this means is that our battery capacity of the lithium battery in this pack is 537 watt hours. So what we need to do is a quick calculation in your head, and you can figure out that this drawing 65 watts an hour will draw down this battery in about 4.5 hours or so. So that means we can run all of this gear for 4.5 hours off the Bluetti EB55. So I've also got my phone charging up the top too on the wireless charger. So this is a super powerful battery bank, and it can take continuous draw of all these different things for quite a while. So 5 hours to run all of this, and it's quite easy to do these calculations as well when you have things running off here. So you can just quite easily look at the output and sort of calculate in your head, if the battery's 100% full, you know that this battery should last about 4.5 hours with 66 watt hours of draw. So it's quite an easy way to sort of calculate the usage of this battery, and I think it actually works quite well. So now we've got all this stuff running off it, you can see that we are going to be able to get quite a lot of time out of this battery running these things. And as you know, some of these things will be charged in an hour, so the current draw will go off the battery and it'll just be the essentials running. So we could potentially get even longer. So this battery pack is very powerful, and I have found it very useful over the last couple of weeks in my testing. So I would love to run a fridge off here and test it. Unfortunately, my Brass Monkey is hardwired to my fuse panel back there. But I have watched a couple of other YouTube videos of people running fridges off these things, and they say they can get around 30 to 40 hours of fridge runtime. That's of course without opening and closing the fridge, so you could quite easily get 24 hours out of the Bluetti EB55 running a fridge. So I did take the Bluetti EB55 to work, and I tested it out for a couple of days, and basically what I was doing at work is I was charging my batteries. So I got Milwaukee batteries, so I was charging my 12 volt batteries and my 18 volt batteries off this thing, so off these two ports. And I was also recharging all my torches and head torches and flashlights off the USB chargers here. So this lasted 2 days at work without recharging, and that's charging batteries every single day and charging all my head torches and lights and everything as well. So I was pretty impressed with how that worked. Okay guys, so we're in the back of the MUX now, and I just want to compare it to my AGM battery. So this is my 85 amp hour AGM battery mounted on the back side of my drawers, and this battery weighs 25 to 26 kilos. So it is a very heavy battery. And to have this battery in my vehicle, I have to have a DC-DC smart charger, I have to have a fuse panel, and then I have to run that up to the front there where I have all my gauges and I have my inputs and everything like that. So all of this here and the wiring and all the wiring to the front of the vehicle is all in place to charge and run this battery correctly. The Bluetti weighs 7.5 kilograms. It is exactly the same size as just the battery, and it has everything built into it. It has sockets, it has my AC sockets, it's got an inverter, it's got 12 volt input here, and it's got solar charging as well. So you can actually get solar panels for these units, which you just plug into the solar input here and obviously charge in the sun. And I think that's pretty impressive that all of this stuff here has been fit into this small unit. And even more actually, because I don't even have an inverter in this setup. So if you add an inverter as well, you're looking at, you know, another massive thing sitting somewhere on the back here, you know, taking up a lot of room. Now the EB55 is a super compact unit, and that is what I really like about it. So I think that in the future, this sort of battery bank could potentially replace this dual battery system setup, because I think this has more uses around home. You know, if you have a power outage, you can use this to power things. When you're camping, you can take it into the tent. You can charge your stuff in the back of the car. You can charge it from solar, or you can charge it from the car as well. So you can charge this with 12 volt as well, which I'll show you in a minute. You can charge it from solar, 12 volt, or from the 240 volt wall socket. So this thing is so versatile, and that's why I was so interested to test this thing out and actually carry out a review on it. So over the last 2 weeks of testing, I'm actually pretty impressed with how well this thing works. And keeping in mind, this is the smallest battery bank that Bluetti make as well. So I'll jump around the back of the car again and I'll show you guys how this thing charges. So what I'm going to do as an example is just imagine that I didn't have a rear draw system, I didn't have a secondary battery, and I just had a new car, and in the back I just had my standard 12-volt socket. So what we're going to do is plug that in to my standard 12-volt socket there. We're going to put it into the input of the Bluetti. Do this one-handed. There we go. So 12-volt sockets in, and that's into the input of the Bluetti. So when we have this in the back of our four-wheel drive and we flick our ignition off, take the key out, there's no power supply to this rear socket. So that's exactly what we want. So basically, this is working as a dual battery system without having to have a dual battery system set up. So basically we turn the key off, pull our key out, and the charging to the Bluetti stops, and the Bluetti runs as an individual unit, and you can draw all of your current from the Bluetti itself, so from the battery in the Bluetti EB55. So when we flick the car on and start it up, which I'll do in a minute, you'll see that we'll have some input voltage and the Bluetti will actually begin to charge. So let's get it started up and I'll show you that now. So I'm just running it off my standard socket in the back of the MUX, which runs off the main battery, and you can see with the car running and the alternator charging, it is running and charging at about 70 watts. So that means that this would charge up completely in a couple of hours with this charging. So if you're driving around, it'll fully charge up the battery pack. So if you do a couple of hours of driving each day, it's going to recharge this battery pack fully, and you'll have heaps of juice left to last, you know, overnight. So what I'll do now is show you guys when we flick the car off and pull the key out of the ignition, the power supply to this stops. And there you go. You can see that the power supply is now stopped and it's not drawing any current from my main battery. So what I've done with this example, guys, is basically shown you your dual battery system. So this is how simple it is. So using the 12-volt socket in the back of the car, which runs off the main battery, I'm able to charge the unit when the car's running. When I turn the ignition off, the power supply to this socket stops and the Bluetti disconnects from the main battery. So this, in my opinion, is such an easy, simple dual battery system, or battery bank that you can have in the back of the car, and you literally don't have to have any of this. You don't have to have your charging system, your battery on the back there, you don't have to have an inverter, you don't have to carry all these extra things. And that's what I was so excited to test out with this EB55, is if it could actually replace your secondary battery. And I do believe, over the last couple of weeks of testing, I believe if your power consumption when you go camping isn't massive, so you're not running like an induction cooker and a rice cooker and all this sort of fancy things that you don't need, if your uses are to run a fridge, some lights and charge a couple of things, I think this could potentially replace your dual battery system as we know it. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think this could actually replace your dual battery system? How much power do you use when you're camping and full driving and that sort of thing? Like, do you think this would be enough power for you? So Bluetti do make some bigger units. This is the smallest of the bunch, and I believe for what I use my battery system for, I think this could actually replace my 85 amp hour AGM today and still run everything that I need it to run. So you do have the option of the 12-volt input charging, or you have 240-volt charging as well from this unit here, and this charges it up really quick if you're charging from 240 volts. So in 2 hours or hour and a half, this thing will be fully charged and ready to go. Now the good thing about the EB55 is you can actually charge the unit and draw current from the unit at the same time. So you can have all your stuff running off it and then charge it on 12 volt when your car's running, and then when you flick it off, it's just going to continue running as normal and drain down the battery in the battery pack. So I think that's awesome. Now I do have a few other little things that I'm going to show you about the Bluetti EB55, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to try this out and why I really wanted to have this around home. We live in a semi-rural area and we get power outages, probably a couple of times a year. And when we have a power outage, we are on water tanks and we cannot flush our toilets or use our taps. So basically, the EB55, I tried this out the other day. We had a power outage for about 2 hours, and obviously with some young kids, we want to be able to use water when we need to. So we ran the EB55 and plugged in the pump here, and the EB55 can run this water pump, and it draws about 500 watt of electricity So it could run this water pump for an hour and have no dramas. And the other thing I tried is I ran the fridge in our house off this battery pack while we had our power outage. So I tested this thing off our water pump, I tested it on our fridge inside the house, and it ran that for about half an hour, and it did give us an over voltage, so I think it might have been a little bit too much current draw, but it did run it for about half an hour. The other thing is we have a young toddler and she likes her milk warmed up, and we don't have any gas in our house, so I used the EB55 to run the microwave on a low setting for 2 minutes just to heat up the milk a little bit for our toddler. And I think that's another thing about the EB55 lithium power pack, is it's not just limited to being used for camping and full driving. So because it's so light and versatile and it actually packs a punch, you can run things like your bigger items like your pumps and your fridges and your microwaves and that sort of thing. So as long as they're on the low output, it will actually run those for a little bit. And you know, sometimes top the fridge up enough if you have a power outage, or like in my situation, run the water pump so we have flushing toilets and running water in the house in the event of a power outage. So that's just another reason why I wanted to try this, is in the event of a power outage, which we do get a couple of times a year, this thing is going to pay for its weight in gold. Okay guys, so I think I've gone over pretty much everything in relation to the Bluetti EB55. So in my opinion, I think this is a great little unit, and I think it has 1,000 different uses. So I think that's why it's so good. And it is also super compact and lightweight, which are some awesome features. So let me know down in the comments, guys, what you guys think of the Bluetti EB55 now that you've watched my video. Do you think these lithium ion battery packs are a good idea? Do you think they're a bad idea? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you think this could potentially be a replacement for your dual battery system as we know it? So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this, and I'll be really keen to hear your feedback. So I do have a discount code for you guys if you are thinking of purchasing one of these units. So I'll drop that down in the description and in the comments below so you guys can save a little bit of cash. So I'll also drop down in the comments and the description a link to the Bluetti website, so you can go there and check out any of the extra details that I haven't covered in this video, and also check out the range of solar panels and other battery banks that they offer. So overall guys, thank you very much for watching. If you've watched this far through the video, I really appreciate it, and if you did enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up and leave me a comment down below on what your opinion is about these battery banks and how you think they could be used in your situation. I'll be very interested to hear how you guys think you could use one of these battery banks. So thanks a lot for watching guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more full driving, accessory fitting, maintenance and review videos. Cheers guys.